Drip marketing is a process where you're sending out regularly timed, keyword, another keyword, relationship building marketing communications to your clients, your prospects, and social media subscribers. And you're not just posting to post. This is like a really important thing, right? You want to be building trust and relationship. You want to nurture the need for your services, and you want to stay top of mind. And so one of the mistakes I see people doing is just, well, I'll just post out some syndicated content, or, yeah, we got some guy out there who's, tweeting on our behalf. And you really have no idea what they're saying, what they're talking about. The information being put out is boring. It's not of interest to your specific target audience. It doesn't do anything to position you properly. It doesn't do anything to further relationship, further the trust. And that's a big mistake, because if you're just doing the activity to do the activity, you're wasting time. And in fact, you're not just wasting time. If you keep pumping out boring, irrelevant content, people are going to block you, screen you, ignore you, because nobody wants more stuff. All right. So you really have to earn into that relationship. You have to earn your prospects, your clients' attention. Let me say that again. You got to earn your prospects and your clients' attention, because people are like, well, what do I do when they tell me to take me off the list? Or, I want to email them, but they won't opt in. And the answer is always the same. You haven't earned their attention yet. And you can force yourself upon people, you can spam people, but that's not going to build relationship. In fact, it's going to have the opposite effect. So you got to really think about what you're putting out there. So it's got to be regularly timed. You can't just once in a while send out a newsletter, once in a while send out a postcard, once in a while do a blog, once in a while do a YouTube video. One of the keys to all social media marketing and content marketing, drip marketing, is that it's got to be regularly timed. All right. And I get it. You guys are about as happy as that as you are about shaving your head with a cheese grater. I get it. But it's one of the things, if you're going to play the game, you just got to know, don't what is it? Don't hate the player, hate the game, so to speak, right? Don't shoot me, right? Like, think about it from yourself. Think of it from your perspective, right? You get bombarded with emails and phone calls and ads on your social media feeds, right? You get bombarded, and most of it, you get frustrated, you block it, you screen it, you ignore it, you unsubscribe, right? And why is that? Because you got so much information coming in, and you only let the people in that you find of value and of interest. It's as simple as that, right? So if you can recognize it for yourself, you've got to say to yourself, going, okay, if I want people to open my emails and be eager to look for my next blog post and subscribe, and not just subscribe, but actually look forward to hearing from me, what do I got to write about? What do I got to talk about? What do I got to publish out there that people are actually going to find of interest? Because if you can't do that, you're not going to win at this game. All right. I mean, the question is like, how do you know if it's boring or irrelevant? Yeah. Well, you'll know because people aren't opening your emails. So typically you should be getting about a 20% open rate, which is not stellar, but that's where we are today, right? So if you're getting less than that, if you're getting more than that, then you're hitting the target, right? You get the right people on your list and they're interested and they're engaged. You look at engagement by clicks. Do you get 10 to 20% clicking on, if you send an email to a blog post, are they clicking on it? How many visitors are coming to your page? How many people are watching your videos? How many people are just engaged, clicking and watching? That's how you know. And I'll give you an example of an article I just wrote that is getting massive engagement. And so I know I hit it right. Now, not everything I do hits a home run. That's the reality. I mean, you got to understand 50% of your content is going to be below average, right? I mean, it's kind of a silly saying, it's like 50% is below average. Of course, it's got to be. So, it's going to be the 80-20 rule. 20% of your content is going to get a lot of 80% of the engagement. And you got to watch, what emails, what blog posts, what webinars, what content, when we put it out there, really gets a lot of eyeballs. right? Gets a, like, so we just did our event, like at boot camp, we noticed what sessions had standing room only. Some sessions had empty seats. Well, that's a clue at a big event. What rooms are people going? What breakouts are people going in? We know the topics that are hot. So if we know that we have 3 topics that are super hot, I'm going to do more videos. I'm going to do more articles. I'm going to do more content around that topic because I know that's what my audience is showing me that they're interested in. So sometimes you got to put stuff out there just to see, is this getting play? Is this getting click-throughs? Is this getting engagement? Is this getting comments, right? And you know, it's kind of funny because sometimes you just don't know what's going to get engagement. Like, what was it? Like, I just posted, and it wasn't even, so here's the thing, guys, this was nuts. You post stuff and like, you don't really think it's going to get engagement, and holy shit, it takes off. Like, I just posted a picture of my pool on Facebook, right?
Which was beautiful.
290 reactions and 84 comments. And that's 84 comments. I didn't re-comment because sometimes, like, if someone comments and I comment, that counts as 2 comments. I'm talking about, that's like really good engagement. And it was just, I was just happened to be walking through my house and looked out and thought, oh, that looks pretty. Let me take a picture and post. That was it, right? And just a shit ton of engagement. And then yet I post something about Adam Spencer, who took his break fix company from $500,000 to like, it says 3 million, because that's where he is today. He'll be 4 million by the end of this year. And we got 23. So 1/10 of it. And it's like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. You know, so anyway, it's just, sometimes you don't know. You post things out there and you watch what gets engagement and what doesn't. And you make sure you do that. So like, even on social media, I do post some personal stuff from time to time, because what happens is it gets a bunch of people to react, and the algorithms of Facebook, when something's popular, it, you know, it bubbles up to more people. And so it just kind of gets a life of its own. But then what it does is it drives a bunch of people to my page. And what happens is when I post that thing about like the pool, they go read all the other things and we get more engagement on other things, right? So anyway, so you got to really think about your drip marketing strategy. And I just want to be clear, drip marketing kicks in after you've completed a really thorough inbound lead capture to close process. So lead comes in, you're going to try very aggressively for a couple of weeks, maybe a month, to get that prospect to book an appointment. And you're going to find out they're either going to be unresponsive, like there's a lead that came in, but they just don't return you just keep getting voicemail. They don't return emails. They're not booking, you know, after about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they just don't do anything. Then they go in the drip, or they might say, hey, they might reach out, like they're a lead that comes in, but they go, you know, I'm not ready to talk to you yet. I'm not interested right at this time. And then then those people go in your drip, right? So I just want to make sure when a lead comes in, there should be a very fast follow-up, thorough follow-up using multiple media, email, phone calls, direct mail, following up on that lead to try and drive to an appointment. And I would say, you know, after about 2-3 weeks, and they're not responsive to those efforts, then they're going to go in your drip. I say 2-3, probably after about 2 weeks, but you know, we sometimes we keep calling, like we make about 5-6 phone calls. We do multiple 5-6-7 emails. We mail them something, you know, we do all these things with these leads. And sometimes people say, I'm not interested. And they, you know, we kick them over into the drip. We find out they're not qualified. We take them out. They book an appointment. And then, you know, after the appointment, if they buy, they go into our customer marketing drip. But if they don't buy, then they go into, you know, the regular drip. Okay. So just know that this kicks in for after you have very thoroughly followed up on those inbound leads. Okay. And I want to explain why you're burning profits if you don't implement this kind of drip marketing strategy. And I want to, you know, I want to kind of just explain, well, and give you a framework of thinking about this. So why would a prospect take time to reach out to you for more information? Like they go on a webinar, or they visit you at a trade show booth, maybe even schedule an appointment, go through the sales process, even go that far, and then not buy? What? Have you ever thought of why that is? And I know you're going to say, well, my price was too high. Well, they went with a competitor. Okay, maybe, But there's a lot of leads you guys get that don't even book an appointment. So why would a lead go through the trouble of going to a website, filling in a form, calling your office, whatever, going to your trade show booth, attending a webinar or a seminar, and then not buy? So let me give you some reasons. And you want to know these reasons because it'll help you. You're not ready to buy yet. You never ask them. These are all legit, 100%. I've seen people not liking the people they have to work with. So yeah, you guys are right, exactly right. One, they weren't all that interested in buying to begin with. They're not ready. I don't know why people do this, but they're kind of interested. So they want to have a conversation, but they're just kind of not ready to buy yet. In their mind, they're emotionally not committed. They're not committed. Okay. So they really weren't that ready. They're just mild curiosity. Okay. Number two, sometimes something happened during the buying process that usurped, love that word, the intention of buying. It's such a weird word. But like, in other words, like, I was just about to pull the trigger on going ahead with this, and my vice president quit, or, I had a crisis at home, or I got sick, or, like there's all kinds of things that can happen where all of a sudden their buying process, suddenly they go from ready to buy, all of a sudden it's, oh, I gotta push this back. I can't even handle this right now. You know what I mean? Something happened. Number three, they didn't like or trust you. Now, most prospects, if they just go dark, or they say, well, we're thinking it over, or we'll call you, or we've decided to go in a different direction. I love that one, right? Like, okay, we're going, that means they're not going in your direction, right? They're going somewhere else. So they didn't like or trust you. The solution maybe costs more than they can or want to spend. If you get that close to where you're and you go, wow, I'm used to spending $50 on IT support every month, and you want to charge me $1,000, that's, that's just more than, like, they can't process that, right? They didn't like your recommendations. Sometimes people don't like recommendations. They don't, like if you go to see, let's say you go see a weight loss person and they tell you, you got to eat broccoli for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you might go, well, I'm sure it'll work, but I just can't stomach broccoli, and so I'm out. So they don't like your recommended approach to solving the problem. Whatever it is that you recommended, they don't like. Or number six, they chose to stay with the devil they know. In other words, the pain wasn't high enough to switch, and they weren't convinced enough, right? So 6 main reasons. Now, this can all be fixed with consistent, well-designed drip marketing content, because all of these things, even if the solution costs more, it may be just sticker shock initially. And then they go back and they try and find someone cheaper, or they go to someone cheaper and they find out you get what you pay for. Or they have sticker shock and they stay where they are, and then they get a ransomware attack and they see what it really costs them. You see what I mean? So even when they have a little bit of sticker shock, or they don't like your recommendations, sometimes they go off and try some other things and then they come back. And we hear this a lot. So when we're selling our services, I have heard of people who've bought and they say, I heard of you 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and I didn't buy because I thought it was too expensive. I thought it was just direct mail, and I don't want to do direct mail. Or I thought you were too aggressive in the sales process. Or I found a guy who said he could do it cheaper, and I went with that guy. And now that I'm in here, man, I wish I had gone to you 10 years. I had bought back then. So we hear it all the time. And so, and that's okay, because we didn't give up on them, right? So we kept marketing to them. And something you got to know, the average IT services client doesn't change providers very quickly. It's a 3 to 5 year process. Most people don't change IT companies every month, every year. It usually is like a 3 to 5 year, if you want to say the term, sales cycle. So if you are getting a lead today, you got to be willing to follow up for a minimum of 5 years just to make sure that you get a swing at that business, because they're not switching all the time.